Hey everyone, I'm Agent Orange, and this is episode 2 of the Orange Rewind, the show where I pick one of my favorite game-changing tracks from the history of house and techno music, give a little history, slice it up in the studio to see how it was made, and then give a quick interview with the artist at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. Today's artist is TODD TERRY featuring Jungle Brothers, and the track is I'll House You. You in my hut now. Let's go.
Too strong. Check this out.
Can You Party was released in 1988 on Idler's Records. It was the second house track released on the label by artist Royal House, one of the many aliases of Brooklyn's TODD TERRY. That summer, it immediately hit US radio and UK charts by storm, landing smack in the middle of the UK's monumental Summer of Love and becoming one of its undisputed anthems. It arrived at the perfect time just as house and techno music was exploding out of the US into Europe and eventually all over the world. It hit number 14 on the UK charts and even earned the song an appearance on their influential TV show, Top of the Pops. TODD TERRY is known to his hardcore fans as Todd the God. He is responsible for a countless number of influential releases across many labels and genres. His creative and unique way of chopping up and flipping samples of breakbeat, funk, soul, disco, and rap supercharged house music and gave it a new and different energy, different than the Chicago sound the world was used to hearing at that point. His work in the late 80s and early 90s is considered a milestone in the development of house, techno, and rave music. Later that year, Idler's boss, Tony D, suggested to Todd that they do a new version of the track. As luck would have it, the Jungle Brothers, who were also signed to Idler's Records, were just about to drop their debut album. Tony asked if they would like to put a house track on it and if they would write a rap over Can You Party. Since they were already hanging out at some of New York City's most vibrant house clubs and enjoying that vibe, they dropped their verses over Can You Party, and I'll House You was born.
Check this out.
Girl, I'll house you. Girl, I'll house you. Girl, I'll house you. You in my hut now.
The raw energy of the vocal matched the gritty, dark beats of Can You Party perfectly. Building on the previous success of Can You Party, a few weeks later it became one of the most classic songs in the history of house music. A big club anthem and a party anthem in both the house and hip-hop scenes. It was also the first track to be labeled hip house and helped pave the way for acts in that genre like Fast Eddie and Twin Hype. The Jungle Brothers album Straight Out the Jungle went on to mark the beginning of the Native Tongues Collective, which later featured popular artists such as De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, and Black Sheep. Let's go to the studio, dissect this track, and find out what made it a game changer. After that, hold on for an interview with TODD TERRY himself.
Rewind.
Alright, so here we are in the studio. Let's talk about what made this track a game changer. Right off the bat, I can tell you it was the use of samples. Exciting, unique, fun samples, and Todd drawing on his influences from disco, house, and hip-hop. So let's take it from the top.
Check this out.
That is Run DMC. Here we go, recorded live at the Funhouse.
Check this out.
You can hear it's got ambiance from the live atmosphere of the live recording,
Check this out.
which makes it exciting.
Check this out. Check this out. Check this out.
That's Todd, so you could hear there's a drone in the background, a very low rising
Check this out. Check this out.
Those little nuances really make the difference here. And that's what makes Todd a god.
Check this out.
Goes right into a Mantronix King of the Beats sample of the Sirens. Very, very cool track from Mantronix King of the Beats, an amazing hip-hop duo. Dope track. You may also recognize this sample from later on in King of the Beats. This is a RZ1, Casio RZ1 kick drum I've pulled up. That is the drum machine that Todd used to have in the studio, a Casio RZ1 and a Korg SD2000 sampler. The Casio RZ1 triggering samples from the Korg. Next we've got the two black and then two strong samples.
It's just like when you got some coffee that's too black, which means it's too strong.
Public Enemy. It's the intro to Bring the Noise, one of their most famous songs of all time. So right after this part, the beat drops. The main hook is from Move Your Body by Marshall Jefferson, that piano stab and the strings. So let's go over to the record bins and grab that record. Let's grab that sample off the back end of the record here. And let's chop it up. The next vocal sample, which drops right here, is the Can You Feel It sample, which comes originally from a Jackson 5 live recording, live album. I believe it was released in the early 80s. Originally, it was Larry Heard who sampled this on his track Can You Feel It. As Todd had said earlier, one of his friends gave him a tape of Techno House and just told him to, you know, try to do something similar. So he just grabbed a couple of samples. This one happened to be in there. And the female vocal is First Choice, Let No Man Put Us Under. Heavily sampled record in early house music.
Oh, yeah. It's not over. Don't wanna be free.
So now let's talk about the hi-hats. You have a 16th note pattern playing there. Just for a little extra grittiness. And then he's got an open hat. And he has got the snare, right? And now for the open hat. And underneath it all, there is a 727 little conga loop that's happening. I don't know if this was programmed from an actual 727, or if it was samples, or if it was a record mixed in. So I've recreated that here with 727 samples. I think he's got a little bit of delay on his, so. So that's the main hook, and after that we have some more samples from First Choice.
Oh, shucks. It's not over. It's not over.
Let's work those in.
Check this out. Check this out.
So there you have the main parts of Can You Party, most of the main elements. So he just pretty much rocks, you know, live sample triggers and just plays throughout for the entirety of the track. So to move from Can You Party to Girl, I'll House You, the Jungle Brothers dropped their epic rap right over the top of it, and it went a little something like this.
Check this out.
Girl, I'll house you. Girl, I'll house you. Girl, I'll house you. You in my hut now, my hut.
So there you have it. Royal House, TODD TERRY, Can You Party, featuring the Jungle Brothers for Girl, I'll House You. Epic track in the history of dance music. It's just amazing, really.
Rewind.
Hey Todd, thanks for joining me today. I'd like to start off by reading a small blurb I wrote last night. You were probably my biggest influence when I was coming up as a DJ in New York City in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Cool.
Starting with your freestyle productions from Fascination to Coro, and then with all the timeless house music, you kept pumping out one banger after another. Your creative use of hard rhythms, clever melodies, and well-crafted samples eventually led me to my love of house, techno, and freestyle.
Nice.
Being able to remix Some Side Say last year with Alexander Technique was a total honor for me.
That was one of our biggest records of the year.
Yeah, it's number one on your techno label Terminator. And seeing Carl Cox play it in every set for the whole year was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, everybody played it, and they're still playing it. You know.
Yeah. That was a project, man.
The world is so unique in a weird ways that people are probably learning about the record now, which is crazy. You know,
for the first time, right?
Yeah. That's why you got to keep on putting out compilations and re-edits and stuff like that. Because sometimes people either they just miss it or they don't really know the name of it. You know, you got to just keep on pumping them out. You know. Sure.
Yeah, I mean that's been one of my missions. You know, to kind of preserve the culture in a cool way. You know, not cheesing it up, not just stealing a sample and you know throwing it in the middle, but you know, like I did the Witch Doctor and then Josh Wink and yeah. So yeah, that was cool. And now on to some fun questions. So Can You Party came out in 1988 and ruled New York City before it went global. That was a legendary time in the New York City club scene. Do you remember what New York City clubs were the first to break Can You Party?
I brought it to Roman Ricardo at 1018. I remember that. I remember Dave Morales had it in Red Zone.
Okay. Red Zone was in Midtown, right? Like 50.
Red Zone was 54th Street and 9th Avenue, 9th and 8th, between 9th and 8th, something like that.
Right.
And yeah, David was doing really well there. And yeah, 1018 was rocking at the time. That record, it was just the answer to party people. So what happened was, I think I got better. You got to realize I really never did house records a lot. Like I did party people as a joke. You know, I always tell everybody the story. Like, you know, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of playing around with samples. Right. And then Can You Party was me getting it better. You know, learning how to do this a little bit better, learning how to edit better. You know, Can You Party is a 2-minute loop edited 3 times with different stuff in it. That's how I made the record.
Tape edits, right, back then?
Tape edits, because I learned how to tape edit from Mike Delgado and Franklin Martinez. Like, they taught me how to cut and sit there and get it exact and make sure that it's measured. Like, I literally had like a measuring tape and would measure to make sure that you know 124 is this much of a time, right? A kick to the snare. Like I had to really learn all that stuff and understand measurements because I knew how to make beats with 16 beats. I knew all that. So then I started to understand the real technical thing of editing. So it was really interesting. But I was never a great editor. I know how to just throw it on the beat. And most of the time, my shit was not on a beat. I did it to ear, so it would be a little late.
Right, I see.
Right on the beat. Because I wanted it to be late, so it sounds funky. So they do. Like, I wanted it to sound funky. So.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
If you look at it, it's off. It's
well, I remember, you know, beat matching back then was you know, pretty There was some challenging parts from edit.
My records were the worst to try.
No, I wouldn't say the worst, but yeah, I've definitely felt worse. But yeah, I did.
Yeah, you have to cut my records. I really wanted people to cut them in. I wanted them to be like rap records,
almost like a hip hop style of feature.
Like a hip hop style. Cut it, check it out. You know, check this out, and you cut it in. I didn't really want you to try to mix it in. What I wanted to be the surprise record of the night. So
nice.
I made it. I kind of made it all freestyle. All that stuff is done by hand. Like there was no I didn't have no sequence. So I did all the keyboards, all the samples, the percussion, everything was by hand.
I'm so fascinated by that time period, by the technology and everything.
Crazy.
So that was a Korg SD 2000.
No, that was I used the Korg to use for the sample.
For the samples.
Casio RZ1.
Right. So the Korg was for the samples, all the samples.
Yeah, right. So what I would do is the Korg had 4 samples. So that'd be the kick, snare, the short hi-hat, and the open hi-hat. And then I had the side stick, which had a good punch to it to hit the sampler. The
trigger. Okay.
To trigger it. So that's that's how that record was done.
Cool. All right. Can you describe the feeling you had when Can You Party first started to blow up globally and gain momentum? And did you take it seriously at first or not really?
Like I said, I did more freestyle first, so I didn't really understand the house stuff. I was just doing it because one of my boys and Mike Delgado came in with a cassette and said, "Yo, you got to do stuff like this," and that's why I sampled Kevin Saunderson and Marshall Jefferson. I didn't really care. I didn't know that I was really sampling it. There was no name on the cassette or whatever. I just was sampling sounds. I didn't really think about I'm sampling somebody's record. I didn't catch it like that until later. So when it came out, we like I had a crew of people around me at that time because I was already doing records and stuff like that. So I developed a lot of friends fast. And we was like, said, "Yo, man, wait till that comes out. They ain't gonna know what hit them." They ain't, all my friends is like, "Yo, you're gonna win on that one. Like that's the next level. Nobody's gonna be able to do what you did." And I was like, all right, like I was just kind of trying to make things sound in key. That was my whole thing, is to sound in key.
Okay.
Not be off key. I used to hate people off key because I come from freestyle. Right. Freestyle, everything was like triple the vocal, so you can't hear how off key it is. So it kind of meshes together. It's like, I call it the reggae idea,
Interesting.
Yeah, it finds a dimension inside the record where you think it's on key, but it's totally not.
Interesting. Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, another dimension. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, back then sampling was different. Like the culture of sampling, the idea of it, there wasn't really laws written, it was like such a new thing. It was like, people were like, wow, we can take something, make it, the way we want, make it a little better. And
yeah, I was the first on it. Like, I learned sampling from Patrick Adams and Naughty Cotto. That's where I learned how to sample or how to critique samples and make them sound right. And, that's the Korg was like, as soon as I knew that could sample, I had to have one of them. I was like, oh shit. So I'm just going to sample that and I'm going to make crazy records now. Like,
where did you get it? Do you remember? The Korg? Was it like used or new or?
I don't know. I think it was Rogue.
Oh, okay. So you bought it brand new.
Yeah, I think I went to Rogue and I just like waited. I stood there like, when's it coming in?
Oh, really?
I used one coming in, hopefully 2 days. All right, I'll just stay here.
So that was like a big deal. It was like a hot item.
Korg was a definite hot item. If you could get your hands on a Korg, it was the only thing that sampled that 1 second at a time, or four little beats at a time. That was the only thing out there that you triggered, snares, kicks, everything. So the world was yours to sample. So that's what happened. Everybody was doing snares and kicks. So I kept it quiet what I was going to do. I said, well, I'm going to sample music. So I was like the first one to sample music.
Nice.
Nobody thought of it for some reason.
That's awesome.
I took advantage of that, as much records as I could with sampling like that with the trick.
Yeah, I guess coming from hip hop, they were more about sampling beats. James Brown.
They just needed a snare and a kick.
Right. Yeah.
You know, all of them just grabbed a kick and a snare, and you know, like one of those hits from James Brown. You know.
Oh yeah, like
South Bronx. You know, South Bronx.
Yeah, the orchestra hits.
Yeah, the orchestra.
Yeah.
They would just grab that one sound, and they would truncate it all tight. So when I found out that you could open it and get that,
nice.
Forget about it. It was on. I didn't tell nobody. Everyone was like, "How'd you do that?" I was like, "I'm not telling you." But good old days, man. You know, Power Play Studios is one of the studios I used to go to.
Manhattan?
Yeah, no, Power Play Studios was Queens.
Okay.
In Queens. And I used to, I did a lot of the records there, but a lot of Candy Party and Bango I did out of my house. I couldn't afford studio time at that time. I ran out of money, whatever. So I had this Yamaha board, and I had this Tascam 34, and I do 4 tracks and then record it and then do another 4 track. Like I was just manipulating to sound like I had 16 tracks, but I basically didn't. I just kept on bouncing and bouncing. That's why my
overdub.
Huh?
Overdubs.
Overdubbing and overdubbing, and that's why my records had air. It had hiss. To this day, those are some hissy records, but you know
they are. But that hiss actually opens up some of that gives it a bit more energy, like that air.
Yeah, it does sound. Yeah, it does have an air to it or whatever. And I just would just put the air, and then when I used to go to mastering, I went to Dick Charles. He was like, "You got to take all the air out of there." And I was like, "What air?" Why? So he would go in there and analyze it and shave off like the 3K or something up there. He would shave it off, and it would be nothing but air there. I would have it all blasted. He was like, "You can't do that. It's cue the record." He used to always preach at me about the record. I said, "Nobody cares, man. It's just that it's dope."
Right.
And we used to have a goof with him because he was such a straight arrow guy. Like he was there like in a bow tie.
Oh wow.
EQing my records. I was like, "No, let me EQ it. I got it." Like this stuff. He's like, "You can't do that. It's going to distort." I said, "They like that."
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Okay. Next question. Have the Jungle Brothers ever performed I'll House You live during one of your DJ sets?
No, we tried to do that, but they was on tour and I was on tour. We tried to set that up one time because everybody wanted to see Jungle Brothers perform it.
Yeah, I bet.
I forgot where I was DJing one time and we couldn't make it happen. Either they was performing somewhere, they couldn't make it there or something like that. But it was somewhere in the city. I can't remember the club. But I remember I was DJing there. And it was like, "Yo, Jungle Brothers gonna come down." Everybody's like, "Oh, Jungle Brothers,
nice.
biggest record ever."
Yeah.
So, sure, but I played the record. Still got a good reaction, but they wanted to see the Jungle Brothers.
Well, yeah. So it never happened. All right.
Yeah, they was wearing. They couldn't believe. They couldn't believe that we was gonna almost have them there, but didn't work out.
I've seen a lot of clips of them performing it at their shows.
Yeah. They did tons of shows with it.
Yeah.
They did. They was everywhere with it because they was doing the hip hop clubs and they was doing the dance clubs.
Well, for that, yeah.
No, they was getting high left and right, everywhere. Then they was doing what I called back then was like the white people parties. Like,
right.
That was a college hit. I'll House You. It was like a college thing. So they was all in the white colleges doing I'll House You. Nice. They used to call me and say, "Yo, we're up here like on Syracuse." It's like, "What are you doing in Syracuse?" We performing tonight. I was like, "Wow, that's funny."
That's awesome. I guess it took.
It was good. It brought a lot of people together, which I think music does that with all the time. Music, I think, saves the world if you let it. Definitely bring all of us together because you like this music, you like the sound, you like that, you like that song. It definitely brings people together.
On that note of bringing people together, what do you like most about DJing or being a DJ?
I always liked DJing you know, and I like producing, but I like DJing when I could play what I want, I guess. Because I come from where you got to play 6 genres a night. I used to play reggae, hip hop, freestyle, house, you know, funk. And so I used to play everything, like just go, you know, 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of that, hour of this, hour of that. And that's what makes me like DJ. But I think last 20 years, people got stuck on the 4 on the floor thing, and it just stays that type of thing. But I try to break it up. I try to do other parties where I like Amsterdam. I'll do anything goes.
Yeah. I was there last year. Yeah.
We do that. And then I got me and Kenny, we do this Fuck You party that we used to do in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Kenny dope.
Yeah. We was like, I was screaming on the mic and playing records, playing salsa. I was playing.
Oh, nice.
That's fun. That's playing everything. It was like
the art. Yeah.
Yeah, it was our greatest, some of our greatest DJ shows ever. Me and Kenny when we did that.
Cool.
All right. We just killed those places. I mean, Secaucus, New Jersey, you know.
What thing?
Yeah, like, and it was packed and everybody's drunk, like, listening to Tribe Called Quest and
that's fun, yeah.
Vo, and then we had Bostitch, you know, it's like, it was going all over the place. We was a mess with it, but it was the greatest mess ever, you know.
That's cool. So the actual art of DJing, seems to me that's what you enjoy the most.
That's what it is. And I think the rest of the world doesn't get that yet. They still, you know, it has to be this. Maybe you can't go into that and go in this. I think it should be everything. But, you know, I get hired for house.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to take it away from what they really want to hear, you know, but
right.
Everything.
Right. I think it's also a little different too. Like now, you know, you go to Beatport or to like an online store and you kind of just, all right, this is what I want. But the whole like buying records, going to a record shop experience, it's like, you know, you would go to like Vinyl Mania or something back in the day, and like Sonic Groove was across the street, and it's like you kind of jump around, see what's good, kind of collect just like a big, you know, a big, you know, pile of records, bring them home, and like all different vibes.
Yeah. I was crazy with the record shops because me, Kenny, Jazzy Jeff, we used to meet each other in Philly and just go around to these weird little record shops, and because Jeff knew like all these little weird spots, so we knew private spots.
Over here or over there? Down in Philly?
In Philly, like we used to drive out like an hour somewhere in Delaware. It was like different places around Philly and Jersey, and you know we used to go to this search, but that G records, and it'd be a guy's basement with just records, and you just go and they start
digging.
Boom, boom. Yeah, it was just crazy. It was fun. I mean, I wasn't like a crazy crate digger. Kenny was more of a real crate digger than me. Okay. And Jeff was kind of like me. Like we would grab certain things, but Kenny was like deep. Bro, I know. I got to get that. Grab this, grab that, and everything. Because I couldn't concentrate on too much stuff. Like I like to have Apollo records and sample the shit out of it.
I see.
That pow for a whole year. Okay. Like I mean, just that kick, that snare, that hi-hat, that sample, that chop, those vocals. Like I like this stack right here for the whole year. I don't need more than that. But you know, Kenny's a collector. I got a lot of records, but I'm not a so-called collector.
Okay, like he's a vinyl-holic kind of.
Yeah, he's next level. He's got $3 million of records. It's crazy.
Wow,
it's nuts. Really.
All right. So what do you like least about DJing and or being a DJ?
I mean, least, I think some of the setups they put you in sometime can be a little freaky. The DJ before, the time limit, the traveling is not, you know, it's not the glam that people think it is. Like, you know, you got to get on that stage and you got to DJ and you're tired, man. You're just like your eyes are, I got bags in my eyes now. Like your eyes are baggy. Everybody's like, yeah. And you got to be hyped with them. Yo, what up, man? You got to play the whole thing, but you just got off a plane and you're 6 hours ahead of what you was. And it's tough. The traveling is the worst thing about DJing, you know, but, also, sometimes it's the setup. Is you got to make sure that they set you up with the right DJ before you. I've had DJs before I get there play all my records.
Oh no! That's not cool.
Like, yeah, it happened in Italy a bunch of times, and I was like, and he's like, Dad, I love this record. And I'm like,
so bad.
Okay, well, now I got nothing to play because they wanted to see me play the record. And
of course. That's 101. That's DJ 101.
Never made any sense.
Fair enough.
So I had to put almost in my contract, don't play my shit before I get there. Let me play my own shit. They want to see me play the shit or play the remix of the shit or cut it up a certain way. Chill. So that happens. But,
fair enough. So to finally settle an argument with my wife, Becca, would you consider George Kranz's Dean Dada a disco record or an electro record?
George Kranz, that's an electro record. It's a hybrid freestyle meets house record. It's not disco. It's not disco. Was
that a big Paradise Garage record? Am I right about that? Or?
Yes, yeah. It's the Paradise Garage type of stuff.
It was kind of that crossover period, maybe.
Yeah, that was like the last record. That's the last record to come in.
Okay.
Also, the Garage was probably over. I think I'm trying to, because I had Bango out at the time. We had In Touch Without You was out. Supertronics had a bunch of records. Hey Boy, all that stuff. Yeah, I remember the fuse of that. And Dean Dada may have not made the Garage. That might have been
after
the Garage. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Garage record. I gotta research that. That's a good question. I always do that with records. Like I go Peach Boys, all that stuff. Because I know what I heard in the Garage. And and I'll tell you a quick Garage story, funny story.
Please.
So, my boy Trax, Mike Delgado, he was going to go to the Garage. We heard about the Garage. I was like, I want to check it out. I heard all about it through the streets. And we got to check out the Garage. And I was like, all right, man. And he was like, it's a little bit gay, bro. I was like, I'll stay by the wall. No problem. It's all good. It's all good. And then we went outside. And we was going up to the thing, and the guy was like, get off the line. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, out of here.
No, you can't come back. I was like, what the fuck is that? So we went back on the fucking line.
Okay.
We got to the front again, and then the guy's looking at us, whatever. And he's looking at us, and I just turned my head or whatever, and he goes, tell you to do. I said, yo, what the fuck is your problem, man? We went to the club and listen to some music. The members only, and he was popping some weird shit, whatever. So some guy in the crowd, whatever, back and was like, I was like, hey, Todd, how you doing? I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, no, who you with? Blah, blah, blah. Walk me right in.
Oh, nice. All right.
I kind of wanted to turn to the bouncer. I was like, fuck you, dude. I wanted to do that, but I didn't do it because he was like way bigger than me. I didn't want to get... I know my boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Like I used to fight everybody I see, but not somebody that big. But we went in there, and the music it sounded so unique. It's the way I could say. I never heard music sound like that before. Like the highs were really crispy and like layering. Like sometimes I hear music in clubs and I get visions of the music on its thing. I see the colors of it. You know what I'm saying? And it was colorful. Like Larry wasn't playing. He came in like 2 hours later or whatever, and they stopped playing, and he stopped playing all the records. And he played like Love's a Message. And I was just like, you heard the fucking tickles and the keys of the organ. Like I was like, ew, you can hear the like I was like, it was so like loud and pumped and everything, man.
That's amazing.
It was just crazy. Oh, that's Kenny right now.
Okay.
Hold on back. No, we gotta put him on the spot. Yo.
Bro, you get your drum machine?
No, I didn't get it yet, man. I'm doing an interview with Agent Orange real quick. I'm gonna hit you back. You got the drum machine, the 2400?
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right, I'm gonna hit you back. I want to check it out.
All right.
I let it. So the 2400 came out, so we're all excited.
Wow, what's that?
It's SP 1200 new.
Oh wow, I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
Damn. So you use the 1200 quite a lot, the SP.
Yeah, I'll show you my setup at the end of this. So
Okay. Last question. Can you feel it?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Can you feel it?
That's it.
I can feel it. I still feel it. It's still, still when you're with your peers and you're talking shit and you're going back and forth, that's the feeling. And Can You Feel It, the record, that was an interesting one. And let me tell you, because I wanted to do something techno-ish. So that
CLS, you mean CLS?
CLS, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I just meant Can You Feel It? But yeah, CLS was one of my favorites. So.
I was wondering what you said. I was like, you talking about Can You Feel It?
No, it's an actual question. Can you feel it?
Yeah. But
yes, CLS came out on Strictly?
On Strictly.
Originally, okay. And then you released it.
And I had fun with that record. I just did it as a goof.
I remember Glenn Frisha playing it on the radio. It was like 4 a.m. I was up way past my bedtime one night, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, Glenn loved that. I love Glenn. We used to have fun with Glenn, man. We would just go in there and start bothering him. Me and Kenny.
Like while he's playing?
He was like, you fucking guys, stop. I'm trying to DJ. I can't play everything. We used to bother. He was just like, I think we was the only ones that make him drink or something. Like,
oh, really?
I love Glenn. Glenn is like a brother to us, Glenn Fisher. Like, he goes back to like real DJing and up and concentrating, figuring out what record goes with what record he was.
Wow.
He critique, and that's what we liked. We like when DJs are really thinking, like
nice.
Just and turning around and shaking people's hands and smoking cigarettes. No, I fucking hate that. You're really deep, and you got something that really works with each other, and their ideas, their routines, and their ideas. I really dig that.
In the mix. I hear you.
Where I come from. Well, here's my setup, so you guys can see my setup here. So this is my DJ setup.
Oh, green screen. Nice. Yeah.
You see the 1200 back there?
Yeah, that's a DJS 1000 Pioneer. Yep.
Okay, I can walk back there so you get a closer look.
Oh, the SP. Oh, nice. Awesome.
SP there.
Is that the original one you've always used, or it's a new one?
Yeah. Well, I had two of them.
Okay.
But I went broke and I sold one of them to Roger Pauletta.
Okay.
So this is but the one I showed to Roger Pauletta is really the good one. This one is good, but I like the older one better. I don't know. It felt like it had more punch. I don't know. It's sort of like had a different sound to it or whatever. But
okay, interesting. Different
component. I had to sell it. So yeah, that's the setup, and I just do all my shows there.
Okay.
Do my TV shows here. I just green screened out my whole life. That's what I do. I do all the TV shows.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, I just talk to people and blah blah blah. I got that show coming out, and then I got my record collection all the way back there, and this is what I am. This is my domain.
I mean, not just you, man. We're all kind of in a similar thing right now. So,
I mean, it's loosening up, man. And as soon as it loosens up, I'm just going to do a couple. We should all just do a DJ gig together somewhere. I don't know where.
You got to come up here, man. New Jersey, like you said.
Come back to Jersey, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thank you very much.
You got it. All right.
Okay, man. Peace.
Rewind.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that episode of the Orange Rewind. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit subscribe and don't forget to drop a comment below with song suggestions for future episodes. I'm your host, Agent Orange. Until next time, stay young, love techno.